Okay, so we have swatched our colors. We have looked at cools and warms. We have made a color wheel that looks like this, where so in our warms, we have our phthalo blue, our pyrrole scarlet, and our new gamboge out of the Daniel Smith Watercolor Essentials. By the way, that's not a sponsor or anything. It's just what we're using. So we took our color wheel and we figured out the variations in colors around, and we did the same thing for our cool colors, the French ultramarine, Hansa yellow light, and quinacridone rose. So now we are going to expand on this color wheel and we are going to create some neutrals. So I have sketched out some circles with the use of my handy dandy very dirty water container. Next, I am going to put in a center circle. This is a jigger that has paint all over it, unfortunately, instead of lovely liquor. But I am using this as a little circle, and we are going to use this in a further demonstration as well. Okay, now I want to kind of just sketch on a triangle, right? It doesn't matter if it's a good triangle, a bad triangle. You could use a ruler, like you do you. You can make it as perfect as you want, but I'm not going to make mine perfect. It's fine. Now I want to kind of grab this and help myself to create another kind of a line here. And again, it does not have to be perfect. You could totally freehand this. Actually, I think I will freehand the next one. That seemed really cumbersome. So yeah, something like that. All right, then we want to go off of our points. This is where our primary colors are going to go. And then we draw two lines like this in between per segment. If some of you are cringing about how messy this is, lighten up, dude. It's fine. All right, let's start with our warm ones. This is, again, Daniel Smith set. We are working with New Gamboge. Uh-oh. 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 So slippery. Oh my gosh. New Gamboge, Pyrrole Scarlet, and the Phthalo Blue with the green shade. All right. New Gamboge. I am starting a pile of that up here, making sure it's good and creamy and movable. I'm going to put this just here. Not all the way, just up here. Next, we are looking at our Pyrrole Scarlet. Again, making this nice and juicy and easy to work with. We are going to our next point in our triangle, and on the outside, we're painting that there. And lastly, we are going with our Phthalo Blue green shade by Daniel Smith, and we are going to our third point and putting this here. Okay. This is a lot of color mixing, so I am using a little system that I have with my water where I have these little cups and then I have a dump bucket basically. So I just keep dumping out my old water into the dump bucket and refilling it with fresh water so I'm not up and down like 5,000 times while I'm recording. So to mix, I'm taking about equal amounts of the New Gamboge and the Pyrrole scarlet, and that's going to go here. Now, because I know that this color is across from my blue, I am going to take some of my blue and I'm going to mix it into that color. And that is what's going to go right here. Okay. This is going to basically meet with this. Okay. We're not going to do all of our lines like this, right? Because then it'll be a big mess. I mean, we could. So we might. Now we're going to wait for these to dry and label everything. But this is so the color that exactly what our paints are going to do. Neutralizes. We're also going to be able to see as they dry the amount of thing we want to do. That means how much. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit into this space. You can see little so dots. That if I do make a big black hole here, so this is a fantastic first step. When you get new paints, have the representation. Something that I highly recommend that you do on each every single time. So and now I want to take this same once color you have put your palette set up, you need to create a little swatch and label every single spot. I'm going to grab because if you put away your paints for a little while and then you come back to them, chances are you're going to forget where you put more of my scarlet and mix that. I hope this helps. Now let's do color wheels and get on to fun stuff. Okay. And then I want to do the exact same thing by adding more blue. And that is a really gorgeous turquoise. I would buy that color. And we've just mixed it for free. Yay. Okay. So let's work on next. And you can see we had some bleed. That's okay. Don't worry about it. So with this, where we have those two already together, let's add a little bit more yellow and get it here. And then let's also in that mix have a spot where we have more red. Okay. And we'll make neutrals for all of these, don't worry. I just don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So next let's mix the middle point for this red and blue. And then let's take it farther red here. And on the other side, take it farther blue. Let's do the same thing with the blue and yellow. Okay, creating our mid spots. And with more yellow. And then with more blue. Okay. Now, let's take this new gamboge with its opposite, this purple color that we made with the blue and red. So just test. Yep, that's it. Now I'm taking half and half with the new gamboge, and I'm putting this here. So that we know that's where that goes. Now, let me take more yellow. And let me also take more of the purple. Okay, I know that my sketch is kind of hard to see, but the pie roll scarlet is across from the middle mix of the new gamboge and the phthalo. So we want to take, so we had our phthalo and our new gamboge for that middle. And then we want to go half and half with that scarlet. Okay. So this is going here. And isn't that interesting? Doesn't look like either one of the colors, does it? And then we're taking that mix, that yellowy mix, yellow-green mix, and we're adding that here. So you have another neutral. And then we're taking the same with some more of the red. It's very close to like a burnt sienna, really. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit lost in where I'm at. So I am going to, and I tell you guys all the time, you don't have to clean your palettes all the time. Stop it. But I am filming, and so I don't know. When I'm painting and when I'm talking, there are two different parts of my brain activated. So I'm going to go ahead and change out my water real quick too. So we had our new gamboge and our phthalo. That was our middle color here. Then on one side we went lighter with the yellow. Okay. And on the other side we went darker with the blue. Okay, so now I have those two piles back. So we're looking at this one here. So this color is the mix of the scarlet and the phthalo. Right? So that's that mix. That's that general mix. Now we're going to go on one side, the more scarlet, And on the other side, some more blue. Now we have those two piles. So let's see. This color here is going to match with this more yellowy. So let's go ahead and mix those together. Until we've basically got an even mix. So it's going to be like this. And what a pretty green that is. Oh my gosh. Like, honestly, I should just be making this green all the time. Okay, so we want to do a little bit more of this color here in the mix to see kind of in between. And the same, you want to do a little bit more of this color with this to see the same. Okay, now we're moving back on here. We're over to this bluer range. So now we need that in between from our new gamboge and our pyrrole red. So that's our orange. Now we need to make it a little bit more yellow. You really do need to change your water often when you're doing this sort of thing because you want your colors to be as true as possible. So this is going to go with this. Okay, so that the half and half kind of swatch looks like this. Fun, beautiful green. Okay, let's pick up some more of that yellow mix and put it here. And then here we're just taking up a little bit more of the bluey mix. Okay. Now we have our in-between green color, the one that's going toward the blue. That's where we're at now. So the most bluish of the greens. And then going to this pinky orange color, which is just our new gamboge with our pyrrole red. So here and here. Okay. And then we want it to go bluer. And then we want it to go more with that orange. Okay, so now we have the same thing as our warm color wheel, but we are also now exploring the opposites and what's possible. And then we're also getting an idea of what it looks like to mix all of these colors together. So I think this is really important. We will go through the cool set next, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. But go ahead and label your new gamboge, your pyrrole scarlet, and your phthalo blue and make sure you say it's the Daniel Warm Neutral Color Wheel, because this can go in your binder and this will be a helpful resource for you as you go to paint more. So let's go ahead and get started with the cools. So in this Daniel Smith Essentials set, our cool primaries are the Hansa Yellow Light, Quinacridone Rose, and French Ultramarine. Okay, so let me just go ahead and clear. I actually think. Okay, so we have just done the Daniel Smith Warm plus the Neutrals color palette. So let's do it for the cool neutrals. We are working with the Daniel Smith Essential Set. We are working with cool neutrals, Quinacridone Rose, French Ultramarine, and Hansa Yellow Light. So let's get started. I just have clean water. I'm going in. I'm actually going to dab my paint because there was some other color in there, random. So, Hansa Yellow Light, we got a wet brush and we went into our juicy color and we are just going ahead and painting that right up here. We're leaving that where it is. We're going directly into our Quinacridone Rose and we're making a little pile of that. And that's going to go at our second spoke here on our triangle on this outside. Okay, these are our actual colors that we're using, and everything else we're mixing. And then down here is our French Ultramarine, and that's going on our third spoke. And you see I'm a little bit dry, so I just grab a little bit more water and fill it in. And I'm not being precise, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go with our Quinacridone Rose and our French Ultramarine in equal quantities and get our purple here. You can see what a difference already, and this is so cool, right? You can see the difference in colors that we're going to get. So with this purple that we have, I'm going to go ahead and soak up, I've dried my brush just slightly, soak up some of that blue and add it to our purple so that I can get this color. We're going to do the same thing on this side of our purple. And get this hue here. Okay, let's do the same thing with our yellow, our Hansa Yellow Light, and our Quinacridone Rose right in the middle. And we'll go here. And then on one side, we'll make it more yellow. And on the other side, we'll make it more red. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. So the last one we're going to do is our blue. I'm just swapping out my water real quick. So I've talked about this before, and everybody's water system is their own, and that's totally good. But what I'm doing when I'm doing videos like this, I have small cups of water, I have a dump bucket, and then I have fresh water so that I'm not getting up and down 5,000 times. So this is kind of right in the middle. Then, bye, love you. On this side, we are going more yellow. My son just went to work. It's so nice that he still says bye. Except for 18, so you know, never can tell what they're gonna do. Teenagers and all. Okay, so now let's start with our hands of yellow and go into this purple and see what we can do. We've got our hands of yellow. We're going directly into that purple. So this is the color that we get. And honestly, I think that that's a little bit lighter than I want it. Okay, there we go. Now let's add to that color more yellow. And then to that same mix, more of the purple. And so you're seeing what a nice kind of mix of colors we're getting right there. I should have brought it across when I had that specific color on my palette, but I think we get it, right? So I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's go to our second, our phthalo, and then we're looking at, in reality, it's this middle color right there. I know it doesn't look like it's a cross, but it is. In reality, not in my wonky circle world. In reality, it's that. So we have the mix of our yellow and our red, half and half, and mixing that directly with our blue. And because I'm starting to get too many mixes, I'm starting to get a little bit confused. So I'm just kind of consolidating mixes right now. So this one is going to go directly across to this one here. That's how this is going to look. And this is almost a gray color, right? So let's add some more of that mixed color toward the red here. And then on this other side, let's just add a little bit more of this blue here. And we get actually a more purpley color with this. Okay. And again, your mixes might look different, and that's totally cool. That's fine. Like, it's really, if you are the one mixing and it's your hand doing it, it's much more likely that you're going to get something accurate versus something that a paint palette tells you and you're not sure of. All right, so let's go. Let's stay with this blue and yellow and go right into this middle one. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So this middle, this green color is going to go in this middle here between the actual red and the yellow, but it's going to be the one on, is that right? No, this one, this green is going to go with this purpley color. So this is the one that's directly between the purple, the blue and the red. So that's the purple that's directly beyond. So this one goes to this one, to this one, the closest to the yellow green. Boop to boop. So I'm taking more of my yellow to making this yellow green. Then I'm taking my blue and red, and then I'm taking more red, right, making that. Now I'm mixing that color with this yellowy green. And I don't know if you see what I'm doing here with my brush. When I'm mixing these, I'm literally sopping it up with a drier brush so I can get the mix. And so that's what this color is looking like. And I didn't really make enough of it. So I need to go closer to that green side. That's a little bit dark. And then we need a little bit more of this purpley red color. For this side, and this is giving us some really beautiful natural colors. Okay, so now we want to go with basically this lighter yellow orange with this purpley that's closest to the blue. So again, our yellow with a little bit of red, more yellow than red. And we're going with this purpley blue. I want more of this here. I want more of the purpley blue here. Okay. Let's start working here. So again, between the blue and the purple, the blue and the yellow, we get this lovely green. So again, we've got the yellow, we have the blue, we're right in the middle there. Now across from this, we have the straight up quinacridone gold, right? So we want to mix that in basically even amounts. But the cool thing is, whatever you're mixing on either side of this color wheel, you're going to get these amazing variations, right? So don't shy away, but do know that if you want to neutralize, right, when you're neutralizing, you're going across. That's the biggest takeaway here. So on this side, with this color, we can get more pinky. And this side, mixing that same color, we get more greeny. Greeny, not grainy. Okay, so again, this is that green that's got a little bit more of the blue in it. And we're going with the same red, but with just a little bit of yellow in it. And then we're mixing those together. And we're getting a neutral that looks like this. And then more red in that neutral. Looks like this. And more blue in that neutral looks like this. Okay, and so these are my Daniel Smith cool neutrals. These are my warm neutrals. So here I have Hansa Yellow Light. Here I have quinacridone Rose. And here I have French Ultramarine. Now I have a real understanding of what these 6 colors can do for me in a huge range. These are amazing concepts because we have gone from swatching our straight up colors to learning about the color wheel to learning how to mix all of these neutrals and swatching out our palettes with 6 paints. Okay, I can't wait to see you in the next class. And before we do the wrap up of class 1, there is one more super fun activity. So that will be the next video. See you there. Subscribe.